Welcome anyone to my YouTube channel. This is Two Beasts to Kill You, and I know it's been a while, right? I haven't made a video in I don't know about a week or something. I don't really remember. I had a podcast last week where I talked about the Xbox Developer Direct, but yeah, not much was happening, I guess, but still happening. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a bit of a week. I got lazy, maybe. We'll just say that. But I'm back, here to talk about, unfortunately, some bad news in the gaming industry. But before we get into that, please like, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So we got more layoffs, just straight up more layoffs in the gaming industry. People Can Fly and Xbox have laid off people. So we'll get to the smaller one first. There's People Can Fly. They laid off 30 staff members. So not, quote unquote, not as bad. It's still 30 people losing their job, but not as big as some of the other companies that have laid off people, or as big as the next one I'm going to talk about, the Xbox one. But yeah, so these staff members that were working for People Can Fly were working on a game apparently called Project Gemini. It was being developed with Square Enix, I'm reading, and there were 20 other members that are now just being moved to other stuff that People Can Fly. People Can Fly, obviously, they created Outriders, Bulletstorm, and one of my, I know, I'm probably going to get flamed from Gears fans. I mean, I'm a Gears fan, obviously, myself, but other Gears fans. They made Gears of War Judgment, which I really liked. I know, sue me. Or not, Don't sue me. I'm making a joke. But yeah, Outriders, Bulletstorm, these are good games. Gears of War Judgment, I just blanked for some reason. Gears of War Judgment, these are all good games. They make good games. I know for a while they were, because they're based in Poland, Epic had purchased them had bought them and owned them for a while, and I think they were just called Epic Games Poland. Then they became independent again. Now their People Can Fly once again. And yeah, this, obviously, this past year and some change, just in general, actually, being in the game industry, there's so much cost cutting that has to happen, or that just happens. Maybe it doesn't have to happen, but happens. And unfortunately, people are getting laid off, and it's just become just a bad trend that I don't know if it has to happen or should happen, but it's happening. And there's not, obviously, as consumers, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just something that sucks to see, especially to a developer like People Can Fly, who I think they don't make bad games, at least from games that I've played. I love Bulletstorm. I enjoyed Outriders enough. There was some bugs and issues, but at least from what I played, I enjoyed it. And obviously, as I said earlier, People Can Fly's Gears of War game, Judgment, I love that game. I legitimately do love that game. Yeah. But the other company that had some layoffs, Microsoft, Xbox in general, or not in general, Xbox specifically. Sorry about that. They laid off 1,900 people. And this one is just even more like, wow, because 1,900 people. And, I've seen a lot of talk online that this was expected after the merger with Activision Blizzard, which, still doesn't make it like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. It sucks still. I get it. And people probably get it. It still sucks. But this one there's a lot more to it too than just they laid off 1,900 people. we'll get to through the details a little bit differently than what I was talking about with People Can Fly. So there was a game that was in development at Blizzard. It was a survival game reportedly was called Odyssey. That team that was developing it, they're laid off, and the game is now apparently canceled. So there's that. Yeah. Blizzard's chief design officer, Alan Artem, he's left the company. And the president of Blizzard, Mike Ibarra, which is a very shocking one, that he's leaving because it seemed like he was there to stay. Even when Phil Spencer had his announcement, or not his announcement, but like his email or something, whatever, I forgot what it was, his thing showing the structure of how everything was going to be, who runs what, and who's at which department and which studio and where, the hierarchy, the tree of who's who. He was on it. So it seemed like he was going to be there for at least a while, but now he's gone. And it's a little alarming because after Microsoft bought Bethesda, Pete Hines left not that long, a year after, less than a year after they bought Bethesda. So, Pete Hines was basically, just the guy overseeing Bethesda. And now Mike Ibarra, a man who's overseeing Blizzard, left. I don't understand if there's something wrong with everything that's going on, or if this was just like we're buying the company, but maybe we don't want to keep you. Or maybe they just saw cool, hey, they're buying the company. I'm getting a shit ton of money. I'm going to use this opportunity to get the fuck out, take my money, maybe just relax for a bit. Because, running companies, even if you're not running the full company, you're running a certain arm of the company, probably still takes its toll. I know that Phil Spencer has talked about having to go back and forth between Japan, and just doing everything he does. It's taxing. It takes its toll on everything. But yeah. Also, lastly, with the Activision Blizzard layoffs for Microsoft, Xbox, they are supposedly getting rid of their physical games department. Xbox, or maybe it was Activision Blizzard, I don't remember exactly, but at least, for Xbox in general, we'll just say they're getting rid of that physical games department, which could be a sign that they might want to try and get out of making boxed copies of games, which to me would make sense because Game Pass, obviously people buy games and, they release a game, they sell it, in a box copy, all that stuff. But looks like they think, doesn't mean it's true, that if they aren't really selling physical games, that people will buy either digitally, which means they would get all the money for themselves, because they do have to obviously split some of that profit with, the places that sell their games physically, or that people might be like, okay, well, I'll just become a Game Pass subscriber, which I'm going to say I don't really agree with that kind of mentality. If that's what they are thinking, I think just still sell physical games. I mean, this isn't a 100% fact that they're doing. This is speculation I've seen online, something that I'm thinking that they might want to stop selling physical games. But if that is the case, still sell physical games and have Game Pass. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't buy physical games myself. I am more of a digital guy now, partly due to I don't have a lot of room in my living area. So it's just easier to have digital games. Although if it's Gears of War, I will still buy that. I legitimately own all the Gears games, steelbooks, and their special editions and all that stuff. I do need to get the Gears 5 Collector's Edition with the Jack drone. I'll get it one day. But yeah. So yeah, those are my thoughts on these layoffs. Just still, sucks to see. Nobody should have to lose their job. But it also, it just, a tweet I put out with, there was another company that did layoffs. I don't remember who it was. This was last week, I think. It just, for me, my thought now is like, why? So here's a little bit of lore on Two Beasts to Kill You. I was going to school for game development years ago. It was just like 13 years ago or something. Yes, I'm old. But I ended up not going. Some stuff happened. I couldn't really finish the classes. Yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm doing the kind of work I do. But as I look back on it more and more, I'm just like, maybe it was a good thing. Because working in games, working, developing, doing whatever it is, it just must be so stressful because you're so expendable unless you are like a higher up, which obviously would take years to become, because you have to become, you have to make a name for yourself. But even then, just to be like, I worked on one game and now they laid me off. But not only that, to make money, some of the stuff that I've seen is that you have to work so many hours. And I'm fine working my 100 hours every pay period for my job, but to work some of the hours at like 140, 160 hours or whatever it was, or not a week, every like 2 weeks, because my pay period is every 2 weeks. So we'll say like 100 hours a week for them, with crunch and all this stuff. Yeah, like, to me, I'm like, why would someone want to be in the video game industry unless they are that passionate about it? Especially when you have like layoffs just happening left and right. But, I don't know. This is just my little 2 cents on that. But I just mainly wanted to talk about the People Can Fly and Xbox layoffs. But that's been my video. That's what I was going to want to talk about. I've been Two Beasts to Kill You. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you later.